My mother's Jewish. My father is not. They had one thing in common. They were both atheists when they married, and they separated shortly, well, when I was 7. They separated. I wasn't raised believing in any religion, and I wasn't necessarily especially interested in any religion. But as a youngster, I moved out of home when I was 14. I was in the 60s. It was a rebellious time, and I was a rebellious youth. I thought because I had prior been to school in England, 3rd grade, and I did very well that year, that perhaps going back to school out of the country would be good for me. And I asked my mother if she could afford to send me to school out of the country. She found that she could afford to send me to 11th grade in Israel or England, and I chose Israel. It was a few years after the 6-Day War, and I was fascinated about this little country that could and did. And it was a pivotal decision in my life. I grew up there in many ways. I loved everything that I learned there about people, about the strength of the people, the passion of the people. And I came to a deeper understanding of what being Jewish meant, and I studied and I read a lot about it, mostly history for the first years that I studied. And then I found that there was something beyond just the history of the people, and I started studying the religion itself.
Judaism is very meaningful to me, as it is the avenue that I've chosen to develop and express my relationship to God. It's the avenue that my family has chosen. What attracted me about Judaism was its rich, long history and its enduring power, as well as the resiliency of the Jewish people. Essentially, I feel many of the teachings of Judaism lead to a foundation of loving kindness. And that's the foundation that I want to live by. And that's the foundation that I want my family to live by.
Rabbi Dovey has been teaching our 11-year-old son and preparing him for his bar mitzvah for about 3 years now. And he comes over and gives private classes at our home in what is my music room. And there's guitars hanging all over the walls. And it's a very small room, but it has a desk and a chair that sits in front where my son sits when he's in class. And it's almost as if, although no instruments are played, there is a different kind of instrument being played when the rabbi teaches. It's the music of our history. And I have oftentimes sat in and enjoyed listening to the rabbi teach. He doesn't just teach Hebrew, as he does very well with that, but he teaches with stories and deeper understanding of the holidays. And I've enjoyed and learned very much by sitting in on those classes. Rabbi Dovey has been an amazing asset for our community. Our community is very diverse. I don't believe have any Orthodox Jewish families in Flagstaff. So the rabbi stands out in that regard, being from Chabad, but it doesn't limit his passion or his compassion for all the people in our Jewish community. And he has reached out, and all who have met him and studied with him and been to shul with him have greatly appreciated his vibrance, his youth, and his wisdom all combined, and his passion for doing what he does. And that's the reason we're here now, and that's the reason we're speaking about Rabbi Dovey and his family. We're so glad that they're in Flagstaff, and we hope and wish them to have all the assets they need to continue their good work and grow the community here. And for that reason, we are big supporters of the future building and the Jewish Community Center that we hope to see someday soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mark and Mrs. Collie Thatcher to the stage.